Hello and welcome to another episode of the TV Dinner Guide. I am your host, Carl. Now, you'll notice a couple of new things about the way this episode is being shot. First and foremost, you'll notice this new beautiful microphone. It was a gift for me from my wife, Marcia. She got it for me for our anniversary. Which brings me to my second point. You'll notice behind me that I am in the basement. That is where I've been living for the last week, as Marcia was very upset that I was over an hour late to our anniversary dinner and I had not purchased her a gift. So, for the foreseeable future, I will be recording these episodes in the basement until Marcia decides to stop being mad at me. But enough about me. Let's get into what we're all here for, TV dinners. Now, I'm very excited for what I've got to show you tonight. This is new from Hungry Man. This is a different line, Hungry Man Selects. You can see it says, in cursive, Selects in a nice gold text. This is the Mexican-style Fiesta, which includes beef enchiladas smothered in chili sauce and cheese with the Mexican-style rice and authentic refried beans, also including, not a brownie this time because it's Mexican, a cocada pudding, which means it's coconut flavored. I don't really like coconut, but I always am willing to try new things. This Hungry Man comes in at 17 grams of protein. Hungry Man's always proud of how much protein they include in their dinners. They put it right on the front of the box so everyone can see it. This is 640 calories, 19 grams of fat, 25 milligrams of cholesterol, and 103 grams of carbohydrates. I'm excited. It's a nice round meal. I've never had a Mexican-style TV dinner before, so I'm going to pop this bad boy in the microwave, and I will be right back. Alright, so we're back. I've pulled it out of the microwave, and woo-wee, it smells like a Mexican restaurant in my house. My God, I mean, this is really a very visually pleasing sight to look upon. You see the yellows and the reds of the sauce over the enchiladas. I believe there is rice under there as well. The cheese has developed a nice crust. It almost looks like a coral reef on top of these tortillas. And then we move over into the beans and the pudding, which look very similar in everything but color. They share a very similar texture, it would appear. The beans have developed a nice spongy crust to them. It looks as though some of the cheese and sauce has spilled over into the pudding, but I'm sure that won't affect the taste at all. When it came to beverage for this week's episode, it really was a no-brainer. You've got Mexican food, you've got to go with a Mexican beer, so I chose to pair this week's meal with a Corona Extra. It's going to pair really well with this Mexican Fiesta. I'm excited to get into it, so let's not waste any more time and dig right into this delicious meal. Alright, so let's pull this in. I'm going to take a sip of the beer. Alright, let's start with the enchiladas. Cut off a bit here. Pretty good. It's a bit spicy for me, but that of course comes with the territory. This is a Mexican food, of course it's going to be a bit spicy. Really the chicken and the filling of the enchiladas all blend together. I can't really gauge what's in there. Oh, I'm sorry, this is a beef enchilada. So I'm going to go back in for another bite. Still a bit spicy. I do like that beef filling it's got, though. And the tortilla really, it's very spongy. It absorbs all of the flavor and squirts it right back into your mouth, and I appreciate that. Let's move on into the beans. Clean my fork off. Beans, very soupy texture to them. I don't actually see where the actual beans are. This just looks like liquid bean juice. But let's give it a go. These are pretty good refried beans. Not as good as, say, your backyard barbecue beans, but these will do in a pinch. They've got a nice texture to them. Very soupy like I suspected. You honestly don't even have to eat these with a fork. You could suck them right down with a straw. They're so smooth. These are real good. But of course, I can't just sit here and eat beans. I've got to move on into the dessert. Not a brownie this time, although can I get a Go Browns in the comments, as I say every week. This is the cocada coconut pudding. Let's cleanse my palate. And let's give this a go. Not a big coconut fan, as I said in the introduction, but I'll try new things. Disgusting. Ugh. I'm sorry, folks, I couldn't do it. It's just the coconut. Coconut and I don't get along, and that's okay. You can't like everything, so I'm going to wash this down. And let's move on into my final thoughts. Alright, so we're back for my final thoughts on the Hungry Man Select Mexican-style fiesta with the beef enchiladas smothered in the chili sauce and cheese with Mexican-style rice and authentic refried beans, including, of course, the cocada pudding. Now, up until the very end, things were going very smoothly for this meal. I really did enjoy the beef enchiladas, although I did think they were chicken at first, but after going in for bite number 2, it was clear that these were a beef enchilada. As I said, the chili sauce a bit spicy for me, but that comes with the Mexican-style fiesta. You want Mexican food, you're going to get Mexican food, and this was Mexican food. I thought the rice played a very nice compliment. They were kind of like the potatoes in this week's meal. They weren't show stealers, but they were a good quality component of the meal. Moving into the beans, boy, these were authentic beans. They were so good. I ate the whole tray. Now, the texture was very good. They had a nice soupy texture. The spicing and the seasoning was excellent. Weren't quite as good as, say, a backyard barbecue beans, but for Mexican beans, they were pretty good. And now I'm sorry to say we must move into the dessert, if you can even call it that. The cocada, the coconut flavored pudding. It was disgusting, folks. And I'm sorry you had to see me spit it back into the bowl, but I couldn't even keep it in my mouth for more than a second or two. It was too sweet, and I just don't like coconut, and there was too much coconut in this pudding for me. But other than that, pretty good meal. I think the dessert, as you probably could already guess, is really what ruined this meal for me. I'm going to give it 3 lazy boys out of 5 this week. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching this week's episode of the TV Dinner Guide. I have been your host, Carl. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like, maybe even a comment, maybe even subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out in these tough times. I've got to go try to patch things up with Marcia. Hopefully I'll be back upstairs in the next episode, although I am not hopeful. She is very upset with me. So I'm going to leave it at that. Have a good night, folks, and thank you for watching this week's episode of the TV Dinner Guide.